Hello and welcome to Channel 2S, I'm your host, Second Soundwave. Today I'd like to take a break from the deluge of Gundam Build Divers news we've had lately to take a moment to talk about a kit that came out not that long ago, the high-grade After Colony Leo. For the few people who don't know, the Leo was the most basic grunt suit used in Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. Even when measured up against other grunt suits in the Gundam universe, it was laughably ineffective, with armor made from wet tissue paper and a machine gun that may as well have been firing Nerf darts. However, this mobile suit's woeful ineffectiveness and complete lack of any distinctive features has landed a place in the heart of many Gundam fans. And I will admit that for a long time I was not one of them. I have never liked the Leo. I've always thought this thing looked kinda dumb. However, I've always believed that the mark of a truly fantastic model is one that can make me completely change my mind about a kit I thought I had a very solid opinion of. And now that I have built the high-grade After Colony Leo, I love this suit. Every single detail of the Leo's design is perfectly recreated by the high grade without the use of a single sticker. You heard me right, this kit doesn't even have so much as an eye sticker. And remarkably, the kit does not suffer for it at all. Even when factoring in how incredibly basic this design is, the work they did on this model is truly incredible. But this kit doesn't just have looks going in its favor. Bandai also introduced an incredibly ingenious construction method that so far has only been used on this kit and its successive Build Divers variant. This model is constructed with almost no polycaps. The only caps used on this kit are these simple ball type connections. There's one in each ankle, two in the torso, and even though I feel certain that I'm missing at least a couple, that seems to be it. Oh, well, there's the polycaps I thought I missed. Everything else on this model is just a good old-fashioned plastic connection. If you're familiar with my thoughts I've had on previous models that I've reviewed, you might be wondering why I'm talking about this like it's a good thing. Unless they're executed properly, polycapless joint connections on high grades usually turn out terribly. However, for this model they introduced a completely new joint system that, against all my expectations, actually works. So in order to properly show you just how this kit's constructed, I'm going to need to pull out the manual. One main advertising feature of this kit, its Gunpla evolution point, was the way the parts were laid out on the runners. The pieces of each color for each part are grouped together in their own separate corner, making it very easy to find the parts you need. Is it necessary? I don't think it really is. Certainly not on a kit this simple. But it might be interesting to see where they go with this idea in the future. My main point of interest with the way this kit was constructed was the legs. You can see that the knee joint right here isn't quite your typical high-grade knee. Instead of the usual apparatus we get inside the knee joint of basically any other kit, we instead have a center piece with a C-clip on each side, one side that clips down to the lower leg, and then another that attaches to the thigh. When I first saw that this is how the knee joints were constructed, I was very skeptical. I've found with experience that these type of joints can be pulled apart just as easily as they're pushed together. However, Bandai very cleverly created a second piece that just slides over the first, and with these little flaps that come around the top and bottom, they basically completely cover up the peg that the clip wraps around so the piece can't be pulled off unless you want to remove it, in which case you can just pull off piece B11, separate the leg, and you're good to go. In fact, they even advertise this as a feature that's intended to make painting easier. For the most part, this construction method blew me away, however, it isn't perfect. Most of the joints in this kit are extremely solid and give me no trouble whatsoever. Unfortunately, there are still exceptions. So as I just rediscovered, the thigh connection on this kit is a ball joint instead of the usual swivel. And the thing with this joint is that it allows for a little bit of play in the connection. Now on this side, the leg is perfectly fine. It'll hold its position forwards, I can tip it back. However, on the left, it's not the same story. Luckily, this is the worst case of looseness I've found on this kit by far. The only other durability problems this kit has come from the feet. The ankle guards in this kit are incredibly easy to pop loose. There's a tiny little ball joint coming off the front of the ankle and these two flaps inside the front of the skirt that are just kind of supposed to sit down on top of it. If you've ever built the Gray Zines, you know what it's like to deal with this kind of connection. Speaking of the ankles, they do have a tendency to pop loose as well. However, this has less to do with joint tightness and more to do with them just not having as much of a range of movement as you might expect. Speaking of movement, let's talk about that. Most of the articulation on this kit is fantastic. Imagine the most articulated kit you've built in recent years, and that's basically the Leo. There's really only a couple points where its articulation doesn't impress. Because of how the head's designed, it's not really meant to move. It is technically mounted on a ball joint, but because there's this little flap hanging down off the chin, you're not going to get anything out of it. The only other part of this kit without outstanding articulation is the previously mentioned ankles. They do this. That's it. Try to move them anymore, and that happens. It's really unfortunate with how good all the rest of the articulation is. If you want to put your Leo in a dynamic pose, you're going to have to either deal with the floaty feet or put him up on an action base. And no, I have no idea what this pose is supposed to be either. The Leo's accessories are equally as bare bones yet impressive as the main kit. Of course, we got to start this off with his personal machine gun. It's molded in 2 different colors of gray, which is better than I can say for almost every other high-grade rifle. And it even has a removable ammo pack. Now, I don't know if you're supposed to remove it since you can't really do anything with it once it's off, but it's still a really cool touch. The Leo can pose with his machine gun like an absolute champ. Now, if only he could turn his head a little bit and actually look down the barrel. So close, Bandai. So close. The rest of the Leo's weapons are incorporated into his shield. The amazing color separation of this model continues on with the shield as there are 4 little gray details molded in the front. Underneath the shield is stored a pair of beam saber handles, and as is the case for every model kit that isn't the 00 diver, you get a pair of red beam saber effects to go with them. And I'm not going to take these off and show you, they're beam sabers, you already know what they do. Mounting the shield on the kit is very easy. All you have to do is pull this one green piece off of his shoulder, grab the shield, take these 2 little clips, and stick them back on. Boom, there you go. Leo with a shield. You can swing the shield up and down. This is on a ball joint. The shield does technically have a handle, but it's only reachable in incredibly specific and kind of awkward positions. And that's all the accessories that you get with this version of the Leo. However, it's pretty obvious that Bandai has big plans for this mold. The model has a removable hatch on its back and on each thigh. Behind each one of these covers is a standardized attachment point. Bandai is definitely going to be making at least 1 expansion set for this guy. And that's pretty much everything there is to say about the Leo. Oh yeah, except for one thing. This kit's only 1,000 yen. So in conclusion, obviously yes, I recommend this kit. It's a great model with great articulation, some fun accessories, amazing color separation, and just a fun little desk toy to mess around with. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more Gunpla news and reviews, and as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.